pattern matching. So now here we could able to see with the area discussion how to match the pattern of whatever we have given over the file and able to display it the pattern. So what it actually does is it's grep the pattern on the files whichever present, and I'm checking here exit code is one or not. Based on that, now based on that I could able to get that pattern. So if you do this, the same thing will happen when I hit that pattern. If config, if config, or I can give anything I can give here. Network is there, wherever network present that will present here. This only two lines the network is present, network, and here. So it is present. So let's move into how to replace a string inside a file. So how to replace a string inside a file? Earlier we have seen how to replace a string on the input set of string. Now we are going to see how to replace a string inside a file. So we have a file name ifconfig. I'm going to put here on all ifconfig as ipconfig. That is my task. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do replacing inside a file. Now hash exclamation bin bash. Then I'm going to read hyphen p, enter file name. File name, read hyphen p, enter the pattern to replace. Read hyphen p, enter new pattern equal to new pattern. Grep hyphen p, pattern file name. If hyphen I, yes, dollar pattern, dollar new pattern, file name echo updated lines. Grep hyphen w hyphen n new pattern, file name, else echo giving error, pattern did not match. So end of the effects. So now what I'm doing here is similar to the earlier function. I'm here doing a grep on a pattern on a file. If its exit code is unsuccessful, so it should not have exited. Earlier I was checking should have exited, but in this case if it is not exited, because that's going to happen for sure, I'm going to check the pattern. Now once I uh, validate that it is not exited, still I want to do it in editor. That's why I'm here using string editor, std hyphen I'm using the va editor command, whatever we are using, like string replacement pattern and the new pattern on which the pattern to be replaced globally. So slash g I'm giving global. Now I've updated the lines. So once I updated, I'm gripping once again to see what are the lines new patterns applied. So hope you understand why here we have that dollar question mark equal to 0. So here inside file name, if config ip config, sorry I want to I'm not, if config, if config the pattern I need to, and I want to change with ip config, pattern did not match. So I'm here getting hyphen p is not the one we need. So I'm gripping the pattern w, it should work. If config, if config ip config, see, it was earlier first matched, that should be not hyphen p, it's hyphen w should be. Why? We are well aware that w is for words to get matched with that pattern. So whatever word is matching that pattern, it will list all those line with if config. So here now if when I get into the if config, you can see that all things were replaced with ip config. Hope now that makes clear. So and I am getting the line number and the lines which were all replaced by the new string called ipconfig. Hope that's clear. Okay, so this how we can use, like now with this experiment we came to know that how to use the string editor scd to apply the va editing shortcuts and commands. Moving to next, taking multiple file names and printing their contents. So I'm here going to retrieve more than one file. Earlier we see only one file. Here I'm going to retrieve more than one file and going to print both the file contents. Clear? So for this case, I'm going to man grep to a file name called man grep. So here when I go do man grep, it will get complete. So I don't want these mainstream. So what I'm going to do is list one, list one, list man grape list. So I'm going to print get only the lines tail I can do, or head 10 lines to man grape farm. So if I do man grep, so we need to, okay, open. So I'm putting this to man grep. Okay, now I'm getting a file with man grep, and I have ipconfig. My aim is to do multiple file reading. Such, I'm here going to do bin bash, bin bash, and I'm going to read -p, enter the file names, files ifs equal to read -ra array files, files for file in array at -e file, then echo contents of file, else echo error, file does not exist, fi done. So now what I'm doing is, I'm here getting the files and I'm reading as an array with a delimiter as space. I can even put as a comma to put it in comma. I can mention that a delimiter is comma. Enter the file names separated in comma. So now I'm going to give multiple bash, and first one is if config, and second one is man group. So I'm giving if config comma man group. I'm able to now get both the contents, content of if config as ipconfig data and content of man group as with this. You can see that if config file reflects as it's seen with ipconfig data, whatever we have replaced, right? So that data we can be able to see. So you can read the multiple files through array. You can use the delimiter with variable, and with that we can do a for loop. And here I'm actually gripping only the files. So I'm opening it, contents of the file. If it exists, file exists, it means file exists, it will open. If it's true only, it will do this content of that file and it will generate the output. So here I am finishing the for loop with the done. So one thing is, you in for loop we actually do a do and done, or the starting and closing of the for loop. Over that you can do if else statements, and if we can use, you can use then statements and all.